This is DFW Home Talk, where we educate you on the real facts of the local real estate, credit, and finance markets, empowering you to make informed decisions for you and your family, achieve financial goals, and the dream of home ownership with financial security. Now your host, Kimberly Beckham.
Since it's right before Christmas, we are very blessed to have a very special guest that has stopped by. Santa Claus has stopped to answer some of our listeners' questions that they've always wanted to know. I'm so glad you made time out of your busy schedule to stop by, Santa.
It is busy, Kimberly. There's no doubt about that. This last week of Christmas.
During the holiday season, you see so many Santas around all the different locations, including the mall. How do you know who the real Santa is?
I get asked that question all the time. It's a great question. The thing that I tell people to look at, first of all, is look at the twinkle in the eye. That'll always tell you if you have the real Santa. And I have a lot of helpers, you know. They're gentlemen that look just like me. Sometimes they have a fake beard. Sometimes it's a real beard. But I can't be everywhere.
Right.
Because I do have to supervise the North Pole, too. You know, there's a little business up there. Mrs. Claus does a pretty good job, but I have to check in.
Well, and there's lots of toys to make.
Oh, my goodness. And all the new categories we've got now with all the new electronic toys and the video games. It's a constant production.
So tell me, are you the real Santa Claus?
Oh, look at that twinkle in my eye. There you go.
It doesn't get much better than that. If y'all need to see it, there's a picture of Santa Claus here in the studio with us, and it's at dfwhometalk.com. And you can also find us on Facebook at dfwhometalk.com, and you will see the sparkle in Santa's eye. See, here's one of the questions from our listeners.
Sure.
What if I've moved since last Christmas? How do you know where I'm going to be?
You know, that's one of the biggest fears of children because they've got a new house or they're going to stay with Grandma. Let's say on Christmas Eve, they're going to spend the night at Grandma's house and they went up and moved 100 miles away. Santa, how are you going to find me? I've got these special elves. They handle all my address changes, all my schedule. They put it all into Santa's computer. Santa's on a computer now. You know, we're so fancy today. I used to have these big books and logs, but now I have computers. So we put all that together, and I have the elves check everything out. We map our route out just before we go. And I find out if a child's going to be somewhere different, we're going to make sure they get their presents.
And this is another one from a little boy. He says, what if my house doesn't have a chimney? That's one I've always wanted to know.
Well, you know, that's a good question because most houses do have some sort of chimney, but not necessarily a fireplace, you know, as we do into that. Especially when you get up north, you'll find a furnace down in the basement. I'm going to tell the secret. There's a special little key. Now, it's really a very large key. Most of the year, it hangs at the North Pole on a special hook. Now, this key only works on Christmas Eve. It magically sizes any lock in any door. And I can just walk in. It's amazing. It will not set off your alarm. It won't do anything. In fact, you won't even see me. I come in so quick and I'm out.
Oh, wow. And see, what is your favorite snack for Christmas Eve? I know a lot of our listeners want to, make cookies or leave carrots out or anything.
Carrots are always great. Not for me. I don't eat the carrots because I give those to the reindeer. They love those. Now, I've had one of my reindeers, and I guess I'm going to tell everybody a little secret today, okay? Rudolph has a very special treat he likes. Rudolph likes bubble gum.
Bubble gum.
Absolutely. No one knew that hardly, but I'm going to tell everyone today. So let's keep it a secret out there, okay? What happened one year, though, is you know what happens when you blow a big bubble?
Uh-huh.
Rudolph was doing that one year, and it blew all over his red nose. Oh, my goodness. We didn't know where we were going for a moment. So here's the rule. Do not leave Rudolph any bubble gum because he can't have it till after Christmas, okay?
So, Santa, what is your favorite snack?
Oh, I get asked that a lot. My favorite word is anything with the word cookies in it. I love it. I saw something the other day. It said Oreo's the #1 cookie left out there for Santa. But I'll tell you something. I'll eat any of them. Now, I am trying to lose a little weight and be healthier. So if you want to leave me a sugar-free cookie, that's great. But I have to tell you a story. You know what happened one time? Mrs. Claus loves to make cookies for me and the elves. Oh, she loves to do that. And so one time she had made cookies, and she told me that we could all have 2 cookies. Well, that was great, but they were so good. I snuck 2 more cookies. I didn't know she was keeping track of them. She comes up to me, she says, Santa, what are you doing? You have 4 cookies there. I said, oh, yes, I do. She says, you're in timeout, Santa. And she made me sit right in front of the cookie jar and look at the other cookies I couldn't have.
Oh, that had to have been horrible.
Oh, it is. But what it really tells you is that children, sometimes we're going to do something that's not right. We have a bad day and we mess up a little bit. And you know what? That's just human. That's okay. But you know what we need to do? We need to get up the next moment or the next day, and we need to just say, I'm going to do better today.
Oh, what great advice. Can you tell us, I've always wanted to know how the reindeer fly.
You know, have you ever seen a horse? We brush the horses and we rub them really well. And we do that with the reindeer. We love to brush them. I have elves that just brush them. On Christmas Eve, though, we put a little special magic dust right into that brush. And then we go ahead and brush that. Oh, my goodness, you should see. They start to fly a little bit, and they take off a few steps, and they remember, oh, this is Christmas Eve. We're going to get to fly. We only get to do this once a year. Because, you know, the rest of the time, they're just playing reindeer games all the time.
And so how did you come up with the reindeer's names?
Oh, you know, that goes back a long, long way. It's really they're Dutch. They were originally Dutch names that we say in English right now, but they all the reindeer, really, the names like Prancer and Dancer, those are because of their agility. Those are names that they had. That's what that means in Dutch. And when you look also, some of the other names are like, they're just powerful names. They're Speed, you know, Blitzen's quick. You know, there's just speeds like that, Dasher. So they were all given names based on strength and power, and of course we have Cupid. You know, and everybody says, now, Cupid, what about him? I said, he's about the love that Santa spreads all over the world.
So, with the reindeer, and do you have a favorite?
Well, I do, but we're not allowed. Well, okay. You know, I mean, Rudolph is my favorite. Mrs. Claus named him, you know.
And so where did she come up with that name?
Well, you know how if you have a pet cat or a dog or a horse or something, and you give it a name after watching it for a while, that's what Mrs. Claus did with Rudolph. She just felt like he was a Rudolph. Or she was a Rudolph. You know, all the reindeers are really females.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You would know that because the male always lose their antlers before Christmas. Females don't lose their antlers at that time.
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So why does Rudolph's nose glow red and the others don't?
We've never figured that out. I mean, I've looked for batteries, electric cords. There's just nothing we can figure. It just happens. And we are so lucky to have had that happen because on that one foggy night, we were in a lot of trouble that year.
To where you wouldn't have been able to see?
Oh, children would have been disappointed all over the world.
Oh, and that's your main source of light.
Absolutely. It's my only light up there. Sometimes we get some stars, but then the clouds come in. We never know how that is.
So how does the sleigh fly?
Well, the power of the reindeer.
Okay.
They pull them everywhere. Everybody thinks there's jet propulsed. You know, there's nothing like that. It's all the reindeer. They have special powers that night.
And so how are you able to be everywhere in the world?
Oh, boy, I'm going to have to give away another secret.
And get all of those toys delivered.
Do you ever notice that when you go to bed on Christmas Eve, it seems like it takes forever for Christmas morning to come around? You can sleep and you wake up and you're just so tired. How did I sleep so long? You know, that's what it feels like. There's a special clock at the North Pole. It only works on Christmas Eve. I can slow down time and makes it seem like forever so that we can go ahead and make sure that all the toys get delivered everywhere.
And so every child wakes up in the morning and you have plenty of time to make all those deliveries.
Absolutely. We get them all done that way. It's just something we've learned over the years how to make sure. Now, it's getting harder every year because there's just so many more good children nowadays, and I love it.